You're being watched.
Police, stop!
That guy's coming in with something. Get the Stop. You!
This is the police department!
Officer down.
Hit him. Put on the brakes! Stop f***ing car!
Hosted by Sean Sticks Larkin.
You know you're on camera, right?
Welcome to Crime Cam 24/7. In Washington State, police may engage in high-speed pursuits of fleeing vehicles if they can conclude the suspect is dangerous enough to the public to warrant a risky chase. And there are no such restrictions for air service units, who keep an eye on things from above, no matter where or how far away dangerous criminals try to hide.
Kent, Washington. Tuesday, February 13th, 2024, 1:35 p.m.
King County Police Air Unit Guardian 1 has just received a notification from the LoJack recovery system in this stolen white Escalade.
LoJack is a GPS-based device and tracks a vehicle using its VIN number and other descriptive information.
Guardian 1, I have a white Escalade on the move. It's going southbound on 100th Avenue. I think this might be it.
With the vehicle in its sight, the police chopper continues to keep an eye on it while relaying the information about the location over a shared channel with all units in the area.
246 and now going back northbound on 98th Ave South. Looks like he is trying to run away.
1525 monitoring, and we're not going to get in pursuit with it.
The helicopter team continues to monitor the vehicle while police units on the ground wait for a safe opportunity to engage.
And turning into the Shell station at the corner of James and Central.
The driver pulls into a gas station while the helicopter hovers. The driver steps out of the Escalade as the chopper switches to thermal imaging and gets its first look at the suspect.
Guardian 1 looks like a driver was a heavy-set Hispanic male in a gray t-shirt with a backwards baseball cap. Went into the store.
The man comes back out and picks up the pace when he spots a patrol car approaching the station.
Coming back out to the car, getting in the car right now.
The air unit switches its camera back to thermal imaging with the patrol car just feet away. We can see the exhaust burst from the tailpipe.
And the car's taking off on him.
The suspect speeds away, leaving the police unit behind.
We're not going to pursue it northbound Central. It's going to be Venturia.
Officers on the ground do not pursue until they can determine if he's wanted for any other crimes besides stealing this vehicle. This is based on standard operating procedure in Washington State, but this policy doesn't apply to the air unit that continues to follow along.
Passing traffic in the center turn lane, going into oncoming lanes now, 208. And he's been involved in a collision at the intersection and continuing eastbound.
The suspect travels on the wrong side of the road, running a red light into an intersection and striking this cargo van. He barely misses another vehicle as he leaves the scene of the collision. Moments later, the suspect gets in the opposite lane. He clips this red SUV and comes to a stop in the middle of an intersection. A female suspect gets out of the passenger side, and the male suspect emerges from the driver's side. They run towards a red Ford Explorer. It was reported that the male suspect is holding a wrench. As he pulls open the door, he threatens the driver with it. He throws her out and gets in, leaving his female partner behind. As he pulls away, a female passenger is forced out. The helicopter stays on the carjacked vehicle.
Yep, eastbound 192nd now on the Red Explorer.
Just a minute later, the suspect turns into an intersection, slowing in front of this blue SUV. After stopping, he bursts out and attempts yet another carjacking.
Guardian 1, he's carjacking a second vehicle, fighting with the driver of a blue SUV at 140th and 192. They're fighting in the intersection.
As the suspect throws the female driver out of the car, a police vehicle pulls up and attempts to block it in. But the suspect backs up and maneuvers around, getting away once again.
Still southbound 140th, Guardian 1, we've got the blue SUV.
The air unit remains locked on the stolen vehicle.
Guardian, we need a location. We lost him.
The officers on the ground have lost track of the suspect, but the helicopter still has him in their sight.
He's in her third vehicle of many at this point. So the one he's currently in that we're pursuing is a blue Subaru.
While local police units are alerted of the situation, the suspect in the blue SUV makes a wild turn onto another road and crashes into another vehicle.
Guardian 1 just had a traffic collision at Petrovitsky and 231st. So far, still hasn't gotten out of the car. We got some county units on it.
County police units who have been receiving the information from the chopper arrive on the scene of the crash. Officers come out with guns drawn and aimed at the suspect as the team in the air continues to provide a tactical advantage.
Officers on scene. It looks like he's moving to the passenger side, trying to get out the passenger side.
The suspect puts his hands up out of the passenger side window. Multiple units arrive and secure the location. The suspect obeys commands and emerges from the vehicle lying prone on the ground. Officers move in and place him in cuffs.
Hey, Guardian 1, they got him in custody here. We're going to head over to where the female was last seen.
Female slowly ran west, sort of southwest, through here.
With one suspect in custody, Guardian 1 takes off to locate his partner. According to police reports, she ran off into these woods, hoping to elude the authorities. But what she doesn't know is that the air unit has a thermal camera.
Guardian 1, I got a hotspot. It's probably her.
The air unit identifies a heat signature lying near a creek in the woods, which proves to be the suspect. Police soon swoop in and place her in custody. 24-year-old Brandy Marie Gomez is arrested and charged with possession of a stolen vehicle and attempt to elude a pursuing police vehicle. 26-year-old Ernesto Rojas Renteria is also arrested and charged with 2 counts of robbery in the first degree, possession of a stolen vehicle, and attempt to elude a pursuing police vehicle.
Prepare for more feeds. Patterson, New Jersey. Wednesday, August 17th, 2016, 4:02 p.m.
It's a slow day for this employee of a cell phone store. Surveillance cameras are positioned throughout the front and back. 2 men enter with their faces covered. They make their way towards the only employee in the store, who's intently watching the suspicious men. The lead man reaches into a bag and grabs something. He comes around the side of the counter and aims a gun directly at the employee.
Close the door, lock the door. Go lock the door.
The suspect with the gun orders his partner to lock the door to avoid any interference from the public. The suspect orders the employee into a back room, which is picked up by another surveillance camera.
Where the safe on the phone? Where the phone is on the safe? The safe is on the phone. The phone's right over there.
The employee directs the men towards the phones in the front of the store. He then backs up when they're not looking and heads in the other direction. The suspect then joins his partner, who is busy robbing the front of the store. Meanwhile, with no one watching, the employee sneaks out of a side door off camera. It connects to a travel agency next door, where another surveillance camera shows the cell phone employee racing towards the front. He alerts the travel agent of the situation and tells her to get out while standing by the front door. She gathers her things and makes her way to leave as the cell phone employee hatches a plan. Back in the phone store, this suspect works on the register, as the other walks over to see his progress. Then, appearing in front of the store, the cell phone employee climbs up to grab the metal security gate. This suspect notices and goes towards him, but it's too late. Both men are now trapped inside. This thief panics and takes off towards the back of the building, looking for another way out as the employee out front dials 911. In the back of the store, the gunman finds the connecting side door to the travel agency and heads in, then goes through a doorway towards the front room. Seconds later, his partner comes into the back room. They pass each other as he goes in and finds an unpleasant surprise. The security gates here are also shut tight, leaving no chance for escape. In the back of the travel agency, the other suspect tries a rear window, but it's barred shut. Running out of options, he hops on a table and searches in the drop ceiling for any possible way out. After seconds of panic searching, all he can manage is to rip out a light fixture which dangles in the air. Unable to climb out through the ceiling, he hops back down.
Yo! Yo!
The suspect appears back in the front room of the store and runs towards the door, trying to flag down a passerby.
Yo, let me out. Let me take my uncle, dog. Open that shit, open it. Push it up. Push it up for me.
A woman out front is no help to the desperate man, who is running out of time. He walks back towards the counter and bends down, picking up a ring of keys. He brings the keys back to the front and squeezes them through a crack in the door, hoping someone will use them to let him out.
Yo, get one of these keys open that shit, man.
His partner comes out to his side, joining in the plea for freedom.
Yo, you gave the keys, bro? Open the thing, open.
The suspect asks if the passerby has given the employee the keys. He has, and the employee isn't about to use them to open the gate.
Yo, this is the gate. They can't open it. Nah, I just gave dude the keys, yo. Oh my God.
By this time, over 15 minutes have passed since they entered the store. This distressed suspect tries forcing the door open, which loudly bangs on the metal gate inches away. Time is not on their side.
It's gotta be a way out of it, bro.
In the back room, the suspect comes across a toolbox.
Right here. Yeah.
Thinking they can use some tools to help them escape, they grab some wrenches and head for a back window. Together, they get to work on loosening the security bars. After a few seconds, they remove the bars and climb out to freedom. Approximately 10 minutes after their escape, the police arrive and enter the store to begin their investigation. 1 week later, Patterson police were able to track down 50-year-old Samuel Labo and 43-year-old Travis Davis. Both were charged with robbery and possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose.
It was reported that the caller who phoned in the crime identified it as shoplifting, failing to mention the gun, which caused the delayed response time. When calling in emergencies like this, it's very important to be as accurate as possible about the nature of the situation.
Prepare for more feeds.
Next up, let's go to Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, which happens to be the busiest in the world, with 94 million passengers passing through in 2022. With volume like that, it can be a tall order for airport officers and security to keep things under control at all times, as you're about to see.
Atlanta, Georgia. Wednesday, August 9th, 2023, 12:40 a.m.
It's early morning at the Hartsfield International Airport in Atlanta. This car is stopped in the center lane at the arrivals area. Clearly not a good idea. A female is loading a bag in the hatch, but when an airport curb officer instructs her to move along and not block traffic, the woman refuses to comply. She continues to provoke the officer as cars pass on either side. An elderly gentleman finishes packing the car and moves along to the passenger side. As the hatch closes, the female driver is clearly not letting things go. She's pointing at the officer, continuing her tirade and flailing out of control. A second camera angle reveals she's in an old-school boxing stance, swinging her arm in a windmill fashion and loading up to throw down. She approaches the traffic officer and strikes her in the face. The officer puts her hand out, signaling to stop, to no avail. As she walks away, the traffic officer retaliates as the women fall to the ground in an all-out brawl. The elderly passenger and 2 other traffic officers stand around as the enraged women continue to go at it. The female driver is eventually helped up and leaves the scene of her assault without being detained. Her identity currently remains unknown. A union leader who represents the civilian employee says the traffic officer had the right to defend herself. The traffic officer spent some time at home to recover from the traumatizing incident.
DeBerry, Florida. Sunday, January 8th, 2023, 12 o'clock a.m.
This doorbell camera captures a man briefly peeping through the blinds of a neighbor's home in the middle of the night before taking off. 12 days later, the same man returns to the same window, staring through for several minutes before scurrying off when a neighbor yells at him. The terrified victim of this peeping Tom called police after seeing him on a neighbor's doorbell camera. Officers stepped up extra patrols in the neighborhood in the days following the incident. A week later, a deputy spots a man walking between 2 houses.
What's up, man? Where are you coming from? Where do you stay?
He attempts to question the man for his suspicious behavior.
Stop, right now. Where are you? Stop.
But the man bolts from the deputy.
Delta Central. I got an adult man running. You better stop right now.
The suspect manages to lose the deputy, who calls for backup units to assist with the search.
All right, Delta 1600, I lost him near the clubhouse. Blue flannel, like sweatpants, blue sweater, glasses, short black hair. White male, probably 120 pounds.
But deputies have a trick up their sleeve. They deploy a drone with a thermal imaging camera to locate the suspect, while deputies trudge through nearby brush looking for the man.
You can see a little spot back there.
Sheriff's office announced itself now.
Or you'll be bit.
Deputies have pulled out all the stops for this peeping Tom. The K-9 unit accompanies the officers while the drone circles overhead. It doesn't take long.
There's a helmet or something right there. See it? Person laying down.
Get up! Get up now!
Shoot.
Get up now! Show me your hands!
Deputies locate the suspect hiding in the thick brush and order him out.
Get out!
Put your hands behind your back.
Be secured.
The first deputy on scene has some stern words for the peeping Tom.
Because you know what you did. We know what you did. That's why we're here. Why is that?
Basically, looking around at late night.
That's weird, man. It makes people uneasy. It puts a weird feeling in your gut when you find out someone's looking at you through a window.
The suspect was identified as 29-year-old Stephen P. Johnson. He was charged with 1 count of loitering or prowling and 1 count of resisting an officer without violence. Johnson was released on bond the following morning, but arrested 2 days later for stalking the victim in this case. Johnson pled no contest to charges and spent 2 months in Volusia County Jail.
Have you captured a crime on camera? Please send your videos and tips to crimecam247@lawnews.com. Prepare for next feed.
For our last story, we head to the Washington, D.C. metro area, where carjacking is an epidemic. In 2023 alone, there were 959 reported cases. Worst of all, the vast majority were committed by teenagers. One way to bring those numbers down just might be more manual transmissions. You'll see what I mean.
Germantown, Maryland. Saturday, March 25th, 2023, 4:36 p.m.
The driver of this blue sedan has just finished pumping gas when two juveniles come running towards him. The man sees them coming and quickly hops in his vehicle for safety, but he's too late. The pair of teens reach him before he can close the door and drag the man from the driver's seat. One teen snatches the car keys, tosses them to his crime partner, then circles around to the passenger side. Once the teens hop in the car, the heist stalls out. The thief in the driver's seat fumbles with the gear shifter. It becomes clear he can't drive stick shift. After several failed attempts to get the car moving, the carjackers give up and flee on foot. Montgomery Sheriff's deputies located the suspects 2 blocks from the attempted carjacking 30 minutes later and took them into custody. The suspects, aged 16 and 17, were charged as adults with 1 count of carjacking and 1 count of conspiracy carjacking. Their identities have not been released.
That's all for this edition of Crime Cam 24/7. I'm Sean Stix Larkin. Thanks for watching.